Hello again, everybody. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. It's one day till Louisville, and I've got to announce something. I've been several times. I've been told to announce this. There's no such thing as the Angry Vikings. He is the Angry Viking, and there are groups, there are militia groups that are coming kind of under him. But he is, there is no such thing as the Angry Vikings. I've also been told, don't come to Louisville. I've got a guest, excellent man, Dave Lackford, an attorney in Louisville, Kentucky. Dave, thank you for coming on, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me on, brother.
It's my pleasure. Before we get started, who's your favorite Louisville live streamer?
Oh, man, there's a bunch of them. I mean, I watch everybody. I watch Maxwell, Mitchell, Riot Hart, Jason Downey, Tara Bassett, all those.
Yeah. I got to say, as far as visuals, Maxwell's far and away my favorite. The way he frames shots, the angles he tries to get. As far as funny, Jason Downey is hilarious. And all of them, as you said, Tara Bassett and Shay K. Wolf. Shay is a gorgeous woman and does some incredible work. They're all the 502 live streamers. And, of course, we recommend that's how you see what's going on in Louisville. Hashtag 502 live streamers. They're going to have everything. I may be down there yet. We still don't know. Okay, we're one day from Louisville. You live there in Louisville. The restrictions that are being placed around Churchill Downs specifically, it seems like they're trying to keep everyone away from the track. And it's understandably so, but if I'm not sure how to ask this. What's the number? How big of a group of protesters will it take to overwhelm and actually occupy the track?
Are you talking about people trying to actually get inside of Churchill Downs and get on the track to stop the horses from running?
That's what I've heard. Is that wrong? Because you're on the ground there.
I mean, no one's given me particulars of what they're trying to do. I highly doubt that Until Freedom is trying to get in there on the track. They had 87 arrested on Daniel Cameron's lawn, and then just recently they got caught on the Central Ave bridge out there by the U of L Stadium. So if you're going out there, stay off the bridge. The bridge is a encirclement tactic. There's no left or right. It's forward and back unless you got some bungee equipment. So stay off the bridge. But I think that would be one hell of an action if they can get through there. But I doubt the police are going to let anybody break through that line. And I'm already doing a ton of pro bono stuff for the protesters. So please don't get arrested. I'm trying to deal with this stuff from a couple months ago, man. But no, that would be a hell of an action. I mean, you're shutting down the Kentucky Derby to protest. I mean, that's a little bit more effective than, getting arrested on the bridge. That's for sure. And it would take a lot of people to get arrested. To make it effective, because you'd have, like you said, you'd have to overwhelm the lines. The 3%ers or the Patriot Prayer, the Angry Viking, that's the one guy, and all his people that are coming. I'm sure there'll be additional bodies lined up there with the police. I don't think that NFAC would have anything to do with that. That's not why they're coming at all. But if that's the case, if that is the case, and we've been asking a while now, what is the purpose of these white militias coming out here, right? We've been watching the live streams. We know that there hasn't really been any rioting since, I think, I was out there the first couple of nights. I was a legal observer, making sure, nothing, if anybody got shot, God forbid, or something happened, I would be there to testify in court if need be. I didn't see anything like that. I didn't see any what you would call Antifa presence. All I saw was a bunch of pissed off people and tired of the things that were going on in their neighborhood, and they were breaking windows, and they trashed 4th Street Live. all that stuff. But I didn't see it. I didn't see any kind of group. You know, I didn't see any organization. To me, it looked like a groundswell of rage. It looked like people were pissed off, and it didn't look organized. You know, I saw someone stick a rag down in an empty bottle and light the bottle and throw it. It was an empty. So you just hear the empty bottle hitting the ground, and you see the rag floating down. But yeah, that first night was wild because there used to be benches out in the park. There used to be picnic benches out in the park, right? So the police are firing off all those firecrackers and the tear gas. And it was raining that night. So when it rains, it kind of suppresses the spread of the CS gas, okay? And there wasn't much wind. It was just a downward rain. And the range of that gas doesn't get to as many people as the people who fired it would like, right? So the real problem was the pepper balls. And the rubber bullets. You know, I had this white guy walk up to me and say something to the effect, I guess there was some organization, because he was saying, you know, the white people, the white bodies get in front of these bullets and to protect the black protesters. And he pulled up his shirt, and I posted it on Twitter. I mean, it was a big crater in his belly, right? So those things, they were doing some real damage. So the protesters snatched a bunch of the picnic tables from out of Breonna Taylor Park, or Justice Square, Jefferson Park, whatever you want to call it, and they used them as shields. So there was like a barricade in front of them, and they were returning the CS gas canisters. They're throwing it back over. They're throwing water bottles. They're throwing whatever at the police, and it was bedlam out there that first night. The second night, it was a calm night. So the tear gas, I got hit with the tear gas, and I haven't been hit with the tear gas since I was down in Parris Island. You know, so it brought back some unwanted nostalgia, if you will. And the whole time I'm sitting there getting tear gas with it, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, God damn, my tax dollars are paying for this. I'm getting tear gas with my own damn money. But so there hasn't been anything like that since. But the windows remain boarded up. It looks very dystopian down there. And I think that's what people see on the live stream. And they kind of say, oh, they're rioting still, or, you know, look at how it looks out there. But there really hasn't been anything like that. I mean, there's been some mix-up with some drivers and pedestrians. I've seen a couple of things like that happen. But there really hasn't been any property damage since early June that I can recall. You know, I don't know if there might have been a window broken here or there during these 100-some days now. I think it's 100 days today since the protest started. But for the most part, it's been a peaceful protest. People marching in pretty much abandoned streets. I mean, downtown Louisville, I'm from North Philly. You know, downtown Louisville has always been dead as far as I'm concerned. If you have some perspective outside of the city, it's a business district. There's not a lot of people that actually live in that area. I live in that area, but I'm down Muhammad Ali, and I'm in Phoenix Hill, so I'm right where the residential area starts, right down past the hospital. So, I don't understand why all these white militias are coming into town if they're here to protect property or stop riots and things of that nature, when that stuff hasn't really been going on. Maybe they anticipate that is going to happen, but it's like you got the cops, you know what I mean? You got the MRAPs, you got the feds, you had the National Guard out here, you are the state is your militia, white people, you know what I mean? Especially if you're a white supremacist. I mean, what do you think the military does? They're not going over there invading Russia. They're not going over there invading any white countries. They're going over there to extract the natural resources from the brown populace, from those lands, right? So I don't understand why you would be coming unless it was a we got to put them in their place type situation. We have to show our guns, our muscle, or, you know, they could just be taking a play out of the Angry Viking, for instance. He could just be taking a play out of Grandmaster Jay's playbook, right? So when was the first time you saw MFAT?
First time I saw MFAT was the night of July 4th. I
saw him July 4th because I remember that somebody popped out of their house and they were like, look, I've never seen this many black people.
Right.
There was this long line. And I said, what the hell is that? You know,
exactly.
What's up? You know,
yeah.
Good on you. That's what's up. You know, mobilize, organize, you know, use your Second Amendment rights. You know, I mean, that's the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was the first one that kind of that I remember putting that into motion. I guess Nat Turner and a couple of people before our time had that idea, Marcus Garvey. But in our realm of things, in my spectrum, that was the first time I saw it. So I said, oh, that's kind of similar to it. So it got him a lot of attention, and he got a lot of clout. You know, he became, for lack of a better word, a social media influencer, right? So if you think, let me just follow that blueprint, right? No need to reinvent the wheel. I can bring my people down here. You'll see my people, my 3%ers, my Patriot prayers, whatever you want to call them. I feel like it all falls under the 3%er umbrella, but I don't know. I'm not a white militia expert, but it's a good way to sell T-shirts. It's a good way to sell merch. It's a good way to sell your MAGA claw, like Big Country, whatever, out there in Texas, you know? So to me, it's a lot of posturing, I think. And like you said, hopefully Saturday just ends up being some big gun show and everybody can go home. I mean, it's certainly a recruitment tool, if anything, on all sides. You know, if NFAC forms up out there and they come out with bigger numbers than they had at Stone Mountain, bigger numbers than they had downtown the first time they came here, you can see that they're growing and they need numbers. You got to recruit, right? So it's always about spreading awareness, visibility, and adding to your numbers. You know, the strength in numbers. The more you have, you know, you've seen the movie Warriors. You know, there's X amount of cops, there's X amount of gangs. We'll run the city. Can you dig it? And
Yeah. And you dig it. And the guy gets assassinated, and then the Warriors have to try to get back to Coney Island, and the little white dude going, Warriors come out to play.
Yeah, the bottles clink, clink, clink.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Hey, think about those gangs back then and the gangs now. They wouldn't have got out of the park.
No, that was a totally different type of. A couple of things you brought up, and I want you to touch on them a little bit further. You mentioned Parris Island. You're a former Marine, and the second thing you mentioned was the rubber bullets. People have a misconception. I think they think that it's like the little plastic pellets we used to shoot at each other as kids out of little plastic guns. These are rubber-covered metal projectiles, correct?
I don't know that they're metal. I think they're solid rubber, but they could be the pepper spray balls that just didn't break. Have you ever been to shoot paintballs before, especially like outside when it was cold and that damn thing doesn't break and it hits you, you get a big-ass welt? It could have been the pepper balls. I don't know. I'm not a less lethal rounds expert. You know, my rounds are pretty lethal. But I don't know what it was. It could have been the pepper ball just didn't break. That could have been.
I'm just basing off what I've been shown up here in Indianapolis when things kicked off up here. They looked like metal, just rubber coated metal.
Really?
And, yeah.
Wow. It might have been. I mean, that dude had a big old crater. This one kid got hit right here in the forehead. He had a big crater on his forehead. So if that was if it was metal with a rubber ball in it, he wouldn't have been talking to me.
Yeah.
He'd have been knocked out. He'd have been hurt, you know, because it was a big crater on his forehead.
Okay.
It's on my Instagram page if you want to check it out.
So Cox Park, you're from Louisville. Give the viewers like some logistics. How far away is Cox Park from Churchill? How far away is South Central Park from Churchill? We don't know where NFAC's staging. That's not any of my business.
I mean,
Breonna Taylor, Breonna Park, Breonna Square, Justice, Injustice, Jefferson Park, all those different terms for the same place at 6th and Jefferson. Give us an idea, those of us that I have a pretty good idea personally because I've been to Louisville a few times and back down there 2 weeks ago. But how far apart are we talking from all these places?
Well, start with Cox Park. Cox Park's on the river. It's on the Ohio River. It's on River Road. It's a terrible place. If it was really Civil War, if it was really like that, as we say, it would be a horrible place to stage and gather everybody in a forming platoon because there's only one road for ingress and egress. And the parking lots aren't as big as you think. They're like in Kentucky, in Louisville, they have this thing where they have to build concrete around every little parking lot instead of just clearing the land and letting it just be a flat strip of land, right? So Cox Park is set up like that. And so you only can get a certain amount of cars, so people are going to have to walk on foot. If they get the numbers they get. Now, I doubt they're going to get the numbers they get. He's talking about thousands of people, right? So if you get 1,000 people and then you get 3 people per car, you know, do the math. That's way too many for one of their little parking areas down there. Like there's a place where you can launch your boat. Another thing is you're backed up to the river. Okay, so if somebody approached you from the I guess it would be the south, right? You got nothing left to do. There's no retreat angle. You better be ready to wipe out whatever's advancing on you. Second, all I gotta do is park 2 buses and cage your cars in. You can't go anywhere unless you got, you know, they probably got some big Rams and F-350s and stuff that could probably go up and turf the golf course across the street from Cox Park. But another thing is, like, think about it from a tactical standpoint where you're announcing to the whole world on social media where you, paramilitary, quasi-military, militia, whatever you want to call yourself, where you're going to meet. Does that sound like solid tactics to you? I mean, you might not be a military tactician, but just common sense.
No, yeah.
Here, right? So, I mean, I would be surprised even if they met up there. I mean, he's got to be able to switch it somehow, but they don't have like a network. It's like a cattle call. It's so I cover football recruiting, right? We do this thing called the Rivals Combine. So we have a camp on Sunday and we have a combine on Saturday. We say, we're at this high school. We are going to be at Trinity High. Meet up at Trinity. And then we just process all these people that come from all over the region. We don't talk to them beforehand because you don't need an invite. We just put it out there on a social media blast. People will see it and then they show up at the address. That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. So I get the necessity to give a clear location where you're going to meet, but it just sounds very internet-y to me. You know, it doesn't sound very tactical. It sounds
non-military.
Like, yeah. It's influencer shit is what it is.
Okay, all right.
I mean, they're a legal militia though, so it's not like they're planning to come pull a heist or assassinate people or anything like that. They're say what you want about them, whatever their politics are, whatever their beliefs are, they're within their rights to assemble and to carry firearms. So if that's what they're doing, that's what they're doing. But don't make it seem like this is some big tactical military thing. You know, it's a social media influencer ploy, in my opinion.
So white militia have threatened to show up in Louisville before. The Take Back Louisville group caught fire briefly.
How can you take something back? How can you, first of all, you don't live here. You don't live in Louisville. So how can you take something back? You're occupying it. You can't take back nothing that you never owned, right? So it's like, look, these people, half of these people that talk all this shit have never seen what bullets do to flesh. You understand? I have. North Philly, I've seen people get shot in the nutsack. I've seen my friend get shot in the face and the chest. And he's laying there in front of the corner store. So this is like 2003. I have my Deuce Staley jersey on. So I run out there and it's cold. And I said, where did he get shot? Because I'm thinking, all right, what I'm going to do is if he's hitting the arm or the leg, I can wrap the wound off between where the wound is and the heart so he don't bleed out.
Right.
So he said he gets shot in the face. Well, I can't wrap it around his neck, you know. Right. And your body swells up. I mean, the blood don't wash off easy. It congeals when you try. Like, these people talk all this shit, but they don't understand what they're getting into. This isn't a fucking game. This is real shit. And if you've never seen what a bullet does to somebody, you know, don't be out here walking around like you're Billy Badass. And also, what the hell are you going to, if you're a patriot and you're an American, why do you want to go and form up against other Americans who are protesting injustices that are happened to them by state actors? What are they protesting? They're protesting the extrajudicial killing of American citizens by state actors with no due process of law. So if you're a patriot and you're an American, you should be against that, no matter what color they are. But they're not. They're fucking racists. And let's call it like it is. Let's call it what it is. You know, it's not, oh, we're going there to stop looters. Where they always lump in BLM and Antifa and all this stuff. Man, half the BLM are white people. Half the Antifa are white people. You know what I mean? You're going out there. Grandmaster Jay and the NFAC are coming through. And you can say what you want about them for what they're doing. Like, are they going to influence Daniel Cameron to put charges on these cops? Fuck no.
No.
You're out of your mind if you think that the United States government is going to be influenced or intimidated by a group of militiamen walking around with store-bought weapons. They ain't walking in there. They're not walking in there with a squad automatic weapon, belt-fed squad automatic weapon with 5,000 rounds. They're not walking in there with Humvees with turrets with a 50 cal auto. You're going in there with MP-15s, AK-47s, semi-auto. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like, what are we doing here? I get why you would need the NFAC, because the state actors are killing your people. So you say, look, we have to show some sort of power, some sort of unity, some sort of formation where we're organized, where we have our guns and where we are going to defend ourselves, right? That was the whole purpose of the Black Party, Panther for Self-Defense. They police their own neighborhoods. They police the police. You understand? This right here is just a show of force, right? So, but it's still early in the game. This thing, remember, the first time you heard about them was July 4th. The first time that they actually made an action was some real shit, where they went down to Ahmaud Arbery's killer's neighborhood. They were looking for him. They were going to drag him out of his house. They were going to handle that. That's real right there.
Yeah.
That's real action. That's boots on the ground, gun in your face, boom, 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 we're at your door shit, right? That's okay. I get that. That's fine. But then, you know, you go to Stone Mountain and you're like, yeah, what's up? Oh, you white supremacists, we're here in your house, right? That's good. That's symbolic. I mean, that's cool. But now you switched over to the whole, you know, we're here to get transparency. All right, well, you were going to get that anyway as soon as they started smearing Breonna Taylor. You haven't gotten any real transparency. Vice just found out today that one of the police officers involved in that raid actually had a body camera because they took photos of everybody after the shooting. So it's on the internet right now. Vice News just released that picture of one of the officers. Now, does that mean the body camera was on? No. And if you read the words that LMPD said right after, they said, you know, some of our people don't wear body cams in that unit. Well, they said some, and I guarantee you it wasn't on, because when I've got clients, I'm trying to beat their warrants, and there's never a body cam ever. They might go in there and take pictures, but there's never any body cam when they kick a door in. Why is that? You understand what I'm saying? So absolutely. I mean, like, you're not going to come in here and change Daniel Cameron's mind or influence Daniel Cameron, because guess who Daniel Cameron serves? Guess who his master is?
Mitch McConnell.
You think Mitch McConnell will send troops to die in war, thousands over the sea? You think he cares about 300 dudes with guns? He's let this whole city burn down to this point. On the first couple of days, not the whole city, that's hyperbolic, but, you know, he let all this damage happen, all this stuff that's going on. You know, the crazy guy who shot Tyler Girth out in the park, you know what I mean? All of these things have happened, and we still don't have anything. And now you got a bunch of armed militias coming here during Derby. They shut down Derby. And then charge these cops shit. You think that 300, 400, 500, 1,000 people with guns marching through Central Ave is really going to stop them from doing, you know how much money they lost? This is a national event. Yeah. This is why everyone's coming here, because it's the Derby. And they say, you know what, we'll pull the plug. So I don't get what's going on with all the guns here. You know, we really don't need it, as far as I'm concerned. If you're doing this for the citizens of the city of Louisville, stay home. Stay home. Let Tamika Mallory and Lee Merritt come out here. Let Reverend Finley come out here. You know, these aren't people coming with guns. These are people that sit down and do the Greensboro sit-in type stuff. You know what I mean? Now, if you want to start your own chapters here and you want to police the police and you want to do that, all good. You know, but I mean, look at all of the shit that's been attracted here right now. Look at all of the shit that could happen. I mean, like you said in the other video, it only takes one lone wolf to pull the trigger. And
next wants to be a hero.
Firefight in the middle of American street. And you're crazy if you know, and look at it, all it takes is one 17-year-old kid. All it takes is one 17-year-old kid getting gassed up by the police, popping the latch off of their MRAP, throwing a fucking water bottle to him like it was Joe Green throwing a Coke to the kid in the tunnel after the football game. And he runs down there, and that kid was nice with his shit. You can say what you want. I mean, the combat effectiveness that he showed was
Yeah,
impressive.
I was going to have, that's how I was going to wrap up. You and I had talked off air about how impressed you were with the way that 17-year-old handled himself. Talk about that from a military standpoint.
I mean, look, if you put anybody in a situation like that, they're probably going to freeze. Okay, they're going to just keep running. Right. This kid turns around, hits the dude 4 times. Right. Then circles back around to assess what he did to the dude. Stood over him, called his boys for backup. Yo, I shot somebody. And then they were like, get him. Now, the whole thing, that's the worst thing that happened in that whole thing was there was somebody chasing that kid along with the dude with the bag. And this dude out there in the street has a pistol. He fires a shot. So that's what causes the Rittenhouse kid to turn around and unload on this man, right? I mean, this isn't legal advice. This is life advice. Don't attack somebody that has an AR, an Armalite rifle if you have a bag. Second of all, if you're going to shoot a gun at somebody who has an AR, you better have an AR. Don't have a pistol. And if you're going to shoot the pistol while that chase is going on, don't just shoot it in the air blindly. Try to hit the person with the gun. All right? So this guy kills the 17-year-old kid, and I'm not justifying this in any way, shape, or form, right?
Right.
That kid went down there to get some. That's what we say in the Marine Corps. I'm going to get me some. He went out there to get some, right? And I'm not trying to act like I'm some war hero. I'm not. I fixed airplane engines. I was in the air wing, all right? So I'm a pogue, all right? I barely even wore a uniform. I had overalls, you know what I mean? Because I'm twisting a wrench on a machine. But, I mean, you hear that type of talk all the time, right? So he went in there. He's got this little medic bag. He's out there playing hero. You know, his mom got him the gun, and he's out there doing what he's doing, right? So that's a dummy move. That's what I'm saying. Stay home, right?
Okay.
But if we're talking about how he handled himself with that weapon, you know, he sprayed a couple shots, hit the dude, right? That right there wasn't that impressive to me, okay? Because number one, you're running, you turn around, you fire. That wasn't what impressed me. What impressed me was while he's running away with the rifle and he trips and hits the ground, he's now in a compromised position. But so the first part was not impressive to me, actually. It was bad effect on target. He only he was close range with an AR and only hit him a couple times, right? But when he was running away and he's on the ground, you see the guy hit him in the head with a skate. The other dude, one dude kicks him, the other guy hits him in the head with a skateboard, but he never curls up in a fetal position. Because if you've ever been jumped on, I've been hopped on. I had my chain snatched. I'm fighting 4 or 5 dudes. You know, once you start getting hit in the head, your first instinct is to cover up. He kept his gun and his eyes moving. He looked at the medic that he blew his elbow off. He did not shoot him first, and then the other guy grabbed his gun, and he never grabbed a barrel. So he tries to grab the barrel as he's falling away. Kill shot, dead. And then he cycles back to the other dude. The other dude has his gun out and he doesn't shoot him. And then for some reason, while he has his gun out, he doesn't shoot at him. He tries to approach him again, and that's where he gets hit in the arm. Then the kid jumps up, and I don't know if there was somebody else firing rounds or if he was shooting warning shots at the ground, but he turned around and assessed any more threats coming at him. He didn't turn and run. You know, he took a defensive posture, and that's what they teach you in Marine urban assault training is, you know, if there was a line of people and that line was going that way, he'd have the rear. His back wouldn't be to the threat. He maintained his rifle downrange at the threat. So, I mean, these militia people that are coming here, they're not just going to the rifle range and shooting in a sitting position, or they're not just going to the rifle range and putting a target 100 yards out with their AR with the beam on it and shooting at a stationary target. You know, these are people that are actually out there in the woods training, you know, doing different dynamic movements with their guns, and they know what they're doing. So it's like, that's where we're at right now in Louisville, Kentucky. We have a militia of all these types, people coming out here. And I'm not saying all 5,000 of them are like that, right?
Right.
I'm saying there's always going to be a security detail where the people are definitely trained and they know each other and they're all going out, right? So, you know, like that woman that came to the first march with the 3%ers they had out there, right? There were about 30 of them, okay? Mm-hmm. And some of those people were fat and out of shape, and they did not look like what you would want. But they're cannon fodder, you know what I mean? Because if there's 7 people, if you got a firing squad of 4 people can wreck shop. If they're trained and they know what they're doing, they know proper disbursement, they know ingress, egress, and all of these different things, right? So all you need is a small firing squad of people to really, really have a siege to do some serious damage, right? So if you see a bunch of old folks marching in the middle of the formation with a shotgun or something, you know, that's not the ones you're looking at. You're looking at the actual security force. Now, I'm not trying to get into no big debate about who's more tactical and who could do more damage and catch the most bodies, right? Because, I mean, if we really want to talk about it, there's definitely people that they can send in the SEALs if they want. They can send in the Green Berets. They can send in Marine Recon. They can send in whatever, and it's going to shut shit down, you know? So I just, like, we're playing these games right now, like, it can't escalate to become something much more dangerous than what I want it to be in my head. Because in my head right now, I'm saying this is just a bunch of social media influencer clout shit where people are trying to get their numbers up. It's a recruitment tool. It's a dick measuring contest. It's all these different things. But that's me just trying to downplay it. Maybe it's a defense mechanism in my head, but there's definitely some smoldering fire there in this warehouse. And if that fire reaches the wrong container, the whole warehouse is going up. So I share your concerns.
That's a great analogy. Hey man, thank you so much for coming on the program. Thank you for sharing your insights, your experience, your thoughts, and might see you down there in Louisville tomorrow.
Oh, you ain't seeing me down there. Hey, go pick that body armor up if you want it.
Okay.
Get with me.
All right, I'll get with you. It all depends. It depends if I can get the right camera equipment, phone equipment, and if I can. And I'm not coming by myself, so there's a possibility that I may be embedded with a militia.
All right, that's fine. No problem. But that's no problem. You can come right up the doorstep. But I'm telling you, that body armor is heavy as hell, man. I'm pretty sure that's why I pack my back up.
Dave, I appreciate it, and we'll come back on early next week, and we'll talk about what happened.
God willing.
God willing. Amen. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. If you're in Louisville tomorrow, the citizens' rules of engagement. You hear anything that sounds like gunfire near you, hit the ground. Don't run because you become a target. If you're surrounded by guns, you're at the mercy of those guns. Be careful where you place yourself and what's around you. If you do hear gunfire, seek cover inside, behind a big tree, or behind a car engine block, because the bullets they're using will go through cars. Don't be alone. Be with at least one other person, if not in a group. Know where your car is and multiple ways to get back to it. If you are in urban guerrilla warfare, there is no law, little logic, and even less love. Stay away from Louisville if you can, and if you can't, please stay aware. It's a dark world. Be a light. I love you all. Take care. It's the American Doofus Show. Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. Thanks, Dave. Peace, brother.
Peace.